Super Bowl.
Brady goes for the deep shot. He's got a touchdown.
And Mahomes at bay.
The Tampa Bay Bucs, Super Bowl 55.
Hello and welcome back to the Bucs Banter podcast. I am your host, Collin Hallboom. We are happy to be here on what is a victory Monday, a satisfying Monday for Bucs fans all around the world. I am joined by my two co-hosts, Scott Capron and Bodan Yard. Gentlemen, how are we feeling this fine Monday?
Good. Feeling good, man. How are you?
Doing great. Bucs are 2-0. I don't really care how we got there. We're 2-0.
Hey, I'm also well, totally normal weekend on my end. Easy, just an easy Sunday of watching games.
Nice.
Okay, none of that's true, actually. Was recently had a son for those listeners out there. My wife gave birth on Friday, so thank you. So heads up, a lot of my analysis this weekend is going to be from looking at box scores and checking Twitter. So we're all warned, but happy to be on, boys.
Scott's baby was born pretty much during our betting preview that Bo and I put out on Friday. We were aware that it was happening around that time, but we didn't want to create any spoilers. We figured we'd save that for you, Scotty.
Hey, well, seems poetic that he was born during a gambling podcast that I couldn't make. So good sign already.
Congrats, man. Again,
thanks,
congrats.
Boys. Oh, yeah. Thanks so much. What a couple days. Holy.
Very exciting. And Bodan is next to join the dad club.
Boy.
A couple months away.
Yeah, here we go.
Bo, as a father for almost 3 days now, I can really, just drop so many nuggets on you. All right. So we'll talk offline. But yeah, once we get into that fourth day, I don't even know. It's going to be too much. So
yeah, we can start a dad pod. I'm in.
Yeah,
Me and you, Scott.
We got the other guy on here knows nothing about it.
He has no idea.
He doesn't have two little ones or anything. Yeah.
I actually got a couple Bucs Banter onesies gifted for my little ones. So I'll have to unveil those at a later date.
Nice.
No kidding.
Just over the weekend. It's pretty sweet. So
fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah. But anyway, time to move on and discuss what was at least in the box score, a convincing Buccaneers victory. Not so much the case if you were tuned into the game. But the Bucs did come away victorious, winning 48-25 over the Atlanta Falcons at home. Brady with another prolific game, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And after 2 weeks, he is leading the NFL in touchdown passes at age 44. I mean, at some point, we're going to have to just stop reminding everyone he's 44. But
yeah,
it's kind of hard not to mention it. It's just pretty cool. But
so it's 8 touchdowns, right? And the 2 picks in the Cowboys games were not his fault at all. Like, he could easily have 8 touchdowns and no picks through 2 weeks. Pretty good start.
He's got 9. He's got 9.
Oh, 9? Oh, was it 9?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Even better.
Even better. He's 2 ahead of Kyler Murray, who also looks incredible this year.
Yeah, but we'll get to that
different.
game.
We'll get to Kyler.
He looked incredible and basically caused a cardiac arrest for me. But yeah, both of those things are not true.
And another thing I just want to talk about, like, Gronk is back, man. Like, Gronk looks like the young Gronk. Like, his connection with Brady is sharp as ever. Obviously a red zone monster, 2 tutties in back-to-back games. Just an absolute menace out there. And what I love is that the Bucs coaching staff isn't like shying away from it. They're not like, okay, well, we have other capable tight ends on the roster. We're going to make sure we get them involved. They're like, okay, this is Rob Gronkowski. And aside from like his physical traits, like, the dude is just being extremely productive, and we're not going to lollygag him along like we did last year. Like, he's ready to go. Let's force feed him the pill when it matters. Brady obviously has a huge say in that, and their connection has been so obvious on some of these seam routes and audibles that he calls at the line of scrimmage. If you were following any of the pregame stuff on Fox or ESPN, they were showing this like Brewski audible, which no one else on the team knew. And that's what he had said in week 1 at the line to Gronkowski. And he just kind of shoots a quick little slant into the seam and then up. Just pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, man, there's exciting and as productive and as in sync of receiver quarterback combos we've ever seen. They're absolutely fantastic. And it's obviously no wonder why Gronk was willing to follow him to Tampa Bay. Like, it's just what a bonus. Like you said, I mean, we've talked, I feel like, quite a bit about the tight end group for the Bucs, and as good as they are, it doesn't matter. You have Gronk out there. You have one of these productive guys, one of the most productive guys. Keep it going. He has Brady's trust, and that is, how valuable is that just in and of itself, right? So awesome to see early.
Speaking of Brady's trust too, I find Brady's also been great at the same time. Like, he gives everyone a shot. This is what I've learned since he's come here. Like, it's not like he's like from the start zeroed in on only Gronk or only AB when he got there. Like, he's really good at being like, there's no prejudice involved in him spreading the pill around when he's selecting which receiver to throw to. You know what I mean? Like, he's truly throwing to who's open.
But and sorry, Bob, I'm just gonna pop in here, but and that's twofold, because he trusts them all, or because they're all very good. And he knows that you don't need to force it into the guy that's being double teamed if they only have one receiver, right? Or one and a second one who's okay. They have these options, and he knows the best way to move that ball down the field is to keep is to, like you said, not be biased, keep looking for who's open and taking what's there. And he's the best at that. He's the best that we've ever seen at that.
Yeah, it seems like he's the beneficiary of just having this ridiculous amount of good players around him. Like, it seems like the Falcons were guarding everyone except him early in the game. And Brady actually missed him on one. He could have got a touchdown on the play before on his first one. Gronk is taking advantage of just being on this team that has a ridiculous roster, and he's the one that's open basically at the start of every game.
Yeah, exactly. And like Keith Robbins Jr., what's up, Keith? Like he says on Facebook, we have 3 number 1 wide receivers. Absolutely true.
100%.
And that's why Gronk's been open, and that's why Brady's feeding him the ball. And like we talked about last week, all 3 receivers aren't going to have big games every week. It's almost impossible, right? So AB was the man left out this week from a statistical perspective, but I mean, they're going to take turns with that. The one guy I think, and so far it's been true, who's always going to have a certain level of production is Godwin, playing in that slot role. I just think he is Brady's favorite receiving target, in my opinion. The type of routes Brady loves to give attention to. But Mike Evans had a nice bounce back game. A lot of people were making a stink about Evans being so quiet week 1. 5 receptions, 75 yards, another 2 touchdowns of his own.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's something I expected. I was all over Evans over 53.5 receiving yards because it would seem like an overreaction to week 1, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I heard that on the live stream when I was in the OR, actually, and I was nodding along thinking, yep, love it, call. Hammer it. Oh, God, there's a baby. But good pick.
Nice. Yeah. Matt Colston shared in mass. We appreciate that, Matt. And yeah, Bo, you got any thoughts on Evans? I know we talked about Evans heading into this week. What'd you think?
We thought that he had crossed that 53.5 in his first 2 plays of the game. So on his first 2 catches, which were the first 4 plays of the game. He's a monster. If he has a down week before, like the week before, the week previous, just hammer him because Brady's going to look for him. And as much as Brady throws to the guy that's open, he's aware of who he needs to keep going. He's like the greatest point guard ever in basketball, basically. He sees guys and he's just like, okay, next week, I bet you AB is going to be one of the guys that they look to get the ball to early in the game. So
they all have value just by being healthy and on the field, right?
Yeah.
That's stats are kind of almost irrelevant because they're going to get their points. The team is going to get their points, and a couple of the guys are going to get their yards. It's just a matter of who gets it. The fact that they have all these weapons on the field is all you need, really. Just even the facade of health and that they're ready to burn you is perfect, and that's just what's going to keep happening. They scored 48 points, right? Like no one's complaining about what the offense did, but like if anyone's poking holes at production or consistency from these guys. This is just what we're going to see. The only person you need the consistency out of is Brady, because he's finding these guys on a given week and 48 and 31, so they're averaging almost 40 points a game through 2 weeks. I know we're going to get into some of the nitpicky type things, or definitely things that can be cleaned up from the Bucs, but hey, it's going to be tough to beat them, that defense, if they're scoring 40.
Especially like the Bucs really fell asleep in the middle of that game, second quarter, third quarter. Like it just kind of seemed like they didn't have the gas down. They didn't have the foot on the gas, and it showed, and that's what led Atlanta back in the game. And they still put up 48 points. Like it's insane.
And won by 23.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. And I mean, obviously a big part of that as well was Mike Edwards, and he gave us some shades of Dexter Jackson in Super Bowl 37. He had 2 pick sixes. And we talked last episode about the Bucs needing to consider playing all 3 of their safeties more, because Mike Edwards has been so effective when he's in the game. They just, that's an unconventional approach, especially when they prefer to have at least 3 corners on the field at a time. But after Sean Murphy-Bunting went down, as soon as Carlton Davis pulled up early, Jamel Dean got banged up, Edwards came in and pretty quickly put his imprint on the football game. He's always been referred to as a playmaker. John Ledyard over at Pewter Report, I think I retweeted it earlier, brought up the fact that in only 428 snaps in his career for Mike Edwards, he has 5 interceptions, as well as another that was called back due to offsides. He has 11 pass breakups and 2 touchdowns now. So he there is proof that he is a ball hawk, and he's a guy that I'd be real happy to see on the field more often. Just because their title is safety doesn't mean they can't play together. It's just a question of who you're going to slide there to play that nickel position if you're down a couple corners, right? Because that's a position generally where a cornerback is more suited. But it's something Todd Bowles, I think, is going to have to chew on at this point. Hell of a game by Mike Edwards, and I was really happy to see it.
Certified ball hawk. Big shout out to Mike Edwards for he had a Raptors shirt on in his press conference, his post conference comments. I was very proud of that. It's like almost like a tie-dye Raptors shirt. So a lot of praise from up north for Mike Edwards.
Godwin's been rocking some Raptor stuff too, I feel like, right?
Yeah.
Like how about that connection just with the Raps out of anywhere they could have played last season playing in Tampa?
Sure.
Like that's unreal.
And like my personal Twitter profile photo, whatever you say on my personal Twitter account, is a picture of Vince Carter in a Bucs jersey at Raymond James, or in a Bucs t-shirt at Raymond James.
Oh,
so
yeah.
There's some connections between the Toronto Raptors and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I don't think anyone in here wants to hear about that. We're just a couple Canadians here.
Give us
strong lean.
Listeners, just give us like 10, 25 minutes just talking about Vince Carter on the Raps, all right? Like just, we'll just mix it into a normal Monday recap pod. It's totally normal.
Well, I only brought it up because you nailed it on the assessment of Mike Edwards. Nothing to add there.
Right on. And Christopher Cole on Facebook says Sherman will sign with the Bucs by Thursday. Bruce Arians did admit today that or unveil that Jason Light has contacted Richard Sherman, so we know that there is interest there on the Bucs part. Of course, we don't really know what's going on with Richard Sherman. He's had a very interesting offseason, but even when he's played most recently, he's been very productive. He's a very smart football player. And coming off that, I believe it was an Achilles, before he went over to San Fran from Seattle. I had doubts whether like athletically he would be able to hold up, but he proved to be really solid in San Fran. And I would be all for bringing in Richard Sherman if he checks the boxes off the field. Jason Light has always had a pretty good sense for that. And obviously Arians isn't going to put up with any BS. So, and it's not like Sherman's ever been an issue in a locker room before. If anything, he's been a leader. So lots of talk around Tampa about whether or not Richard Sherman could be in play. We will see what happens there, but something to keep an eye on, because I think as our cornerbacks continue to drop like flies, a talented veteran presence like Sherman could not only be a nice fit with the locker room and the other pieces there, but he could be very valuable as well, just because of the need positionally.
Is he cleared? Sorry, put us on the spot a little bit. Is he from that incident this past summer? I mean, if they're potentially going to sign him, then I guess he's ready to play this season, right? So
he could play, but there will be some legal hearings that need to occur at some point, and you can't really predict when. So it's kind of similar to when the Bucs brought in AB last year. It was not officially resolved in a court of law at that point. But I think, you know, the Buccaneers, the Glazers, whoever's involved, they're willing to get a pretty good sense from their legal experts on how that could potentially play out. And you know, with NFL teams, I think they're willing to get a bit of a sense of how much the guy can help them win as well. It seems to be a bit of a through line on some signings that go around across the league or around the league. Yeah. I would say that's pretty high up on the list in the NFL. That's for sure.
I couldn't believe Randy Gregory was still on the Cowboys.
I'm surprised the Ravens haven't brought in Ray Rice.
He's on practice squad. He's punting. Oh God.
Punting footballs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus.
Okay. On that note.
Yeah.
So just like in the first week, but Rojo is really in front of all of our eyes, losing the battle with Fournette in that Bucs backfield, battling for RB1 duties. And he's really battling with himself. Like, he doesn't look stable emotionally. He looks a little out of sorts. He missed a crucial blitz pickup, and then he also ran out of bounds, a yard short of a first down instead of lowering his shoulder.
No sense. Sorry to cut you off, but I remember I was watching that, and I think I texted you right after. I was like, Rojo is just a liability at this point.
Same story. It's the same story for him, though, eh? This was
especially funny though, because it was a clear first down, and like he could just go, like he was looking at the line and just decided, I'm going to go out just in front of it. Like the rules had changed for some reason. Like it was really weird.
And Bo, remember last week you were talking about how much you love Godwin because he lowered his shoulder instead of going out of bounds.
Exactly.
Oh
yeah, a wide receiver.
Oh God.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's tough to watch.
There was definitely some contact that would have came with that first down, but like it wasn't going to be that much. Like it was literally one step forward and out, and instead he took 2 steps out. It was really weird.
He's a pretty tough runner normally. Like that one kind of perplexed me there a little bit.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear what it's like for the runners who know that. Now I didn't see much of the game, but you know, if you make one mistake, you're not going to get the ball again. I'd like, you know, that's got to affect certain guys more than others, and just how much pressure you put on themselves. This, excuse me, this thing you're talking about now about going out of bounds without getting the extra yard. That's obviously, you know, by itself, that's just a bad move. But Collin's talking about how doesn't look as confident, and it's just, you know, if you know you're going to get pulled and you're missing one blitz or obviously one fumble, it's tough to play that way. Not excusing it, but some people are just going to handle that better than others.
Exactly. And I think it's almost at the point where it's obvious to everyone watching his body language on the sidelines after these issues, how he walks off the field. I mean, Rojo is in his own head.
Yeah.
If he can't turn it around soon, I mean, that mental instability is not something that anyone wants in one of their starters, contributors on a team with Super Bowl aspirations. That's
so funny you say that, Colin, just because there's so many times where it's like talking heads or the media, like they come up with what could have happened and it's like, no, I think this one has actually exactly what's going on, right? Like, I don't think this is a over analyzed situation. It's like, no, he's just, doesn't want to make a mistake, and it's affecting how he's playing, and everyone is seeing that.
With the pace that Lenny's on right now, too, it would be hard enough for him to get reps if he was playing well. Lenny's actually starting to catch the ball a lot better as well, too. So I don't know what Bruce is waiting for, honestly. He's given Rojo a ton of chances at this point.
But, I mean...
Lenny, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, just keep him healthy, right? Yeah. Like, if the offense is doing this with some questions at running back, and you don't have to force feed one of them or you know, risk anyone missing a couple weeks, and you know, just keep it going, I would assume is the thinking there. That's what I would go with. But yeah, I see what you mean, Bo, for sure.
Like, he was productive. He was, you know, if he gets 20 carries, he's going to be over 100 yards, averaging almost 5 yards a carry that game. And he threw in 4 receptions for 24 yards. So you're right, Bo. Lenny was definitely very, very consistent. So he's doing his part as well, which is important to acknowledge. It's not just Rojo.
You're taking 5 yards of carry and, pardon the pun, and running with it from anyone in any game, right? So yeah, that's great
for sure. Catching up on some comments here. Tapasio, who has been a pretty loyal listener of ours on YouTube, giving some Vince Carter some love. You're in the right place for that. We are Canadian, all three of us. Tapasio. So there you go. Christopher Cole shouting out Vince Carter as well.
Hey.
Sean Parnell. This next game will tell all. The Rams game will let us know exactly where we stand against quality teams. You are absolutely right, Sean. I think we've covered enough of the Falcons-Bucs game, so maybe we can just use that to kind of leverage ourselves right into a bit of a preview, boys. Like next week's a big game.
Just one more comment. The Atlanta's going to be bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's, they lost 32-6 and 48-25. Like that's a tough first 2 weeks. But yeah, Rams-Bucs. Oh my, let's talk. Let's get into it.
Yeah, and that's the only other thing I want to say is like I don't like giving up 25 to the Falcons either. We only had one sack, Ndamukong Suh. I'm surprised by that because if I had seen on our sports book to bet team sacks, I probably would have bet the over. So and I would have lost.
Yeah.
Also the penalties too. The penalties were just. I feel like as the objective NFL fan, I was swapping games, but I feel like every drive that I would look over at the Bucs game, there would always be a Bucs penalty, whether it's on offense or defense. It was interesting. And just looking at the box score and 9 penalties for 83 yards, that's shooting yourself in the foot a lot. And playing against a team like Atlanta kind of speaks to how they were even able to get to 25 points.
And BA, it was a local radio station interview on the sideline at halftime, and I didn't catch this till today, till I heard the audio, but he was fuming about the penalties and lack of discipline. Like he must have tore into those boys at halftime because he was pissed.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. But Stafford's got 2 games under his belt now. A guy who all three of us, we don't always agree on everything, but we agreed that Matt Stafford was a monumental upgrade for the Rams and thought he would be dangerous this season, pairing up with Sean McVay. I didn't watch much. Well, I didn't watch any of that Colts game, but obviously they were not in control the entire game, but they came away with it. They're 2-0. This should be a really fun game at SoFi Stadium. The Bucs are underdogs as well, +1. So I bet them money line today.
I caught plenty of that game. It seemed like the Rams were really looking ahead to this game. That's kind of why the Colts were in it. Colts defense also showed up as well too.
Yeah.
They played really well. But the Rams defense gives up a ton of yards until you get to the red zone. And then when they had 2 goal line stands where I think the Colts had negative yardage in their first 7 plays at the goal line. It was an insane display from them, from their defensive front. So I can't wait for this game.
Yeah, it was a real bend don't break from the Rams defense. And I don't think the Colts are good, but they're also not terrible. So
Especially
the Rams played with the Sunday nighter, come back, have to go play in Indianapolis. They still got it's not a terrible win. Not a terrible performance to beat anyone on the road. Like you said, probably a bit of a look ahead spot. I think Stafford played okay. Couple bad decisions, I thought, but he's so much better than Goff. And then it's funny because with every positive for the Rams is going to be attributed to Stafford or in a large percentage, and then we're going to see the opposite is just how bad the Lions are with Goff, right? It's just going to be such a stark difference between the two, and it's going to be so just so highlighted, and it's funny just because we get to see Lions Packers tonight, obviously, right? But Bucs Rams game of the week next week. How good is that?
Yeah, it'll be at 4:00. We'll probably have Aikman and Buck doing the game. I think it'll be on Fox, right? They're NFC.
Yeah, it is.
2 NFC teams. It's gonna be a lot of air yards, I think, because I think neither team has a dominant rushing attack, and both teams have receivers they trust and quarterbacks they trust to get them the ball. So I think it's going to be really trying to pick on the defensive backs. These quarterbacks are smart enough. The offensive coaches are smart enough. I think it's going to be a lot of trying to isolate matchup certain guys because there's going to be an advantage for the offense at the receiver versus defensive back. With whichever way you're going, especially with the Bucs getting a little bit depleted there. And offensively, that like it doesn't matter wherever Ramsey is, they could just look the other way if they wanted to. I mean, they'll probably trust Bucs receivers even if they're lined up on Ramsey. I'm just saying they will have that option available to them. So I'm really curious to see how that process holds up. I mean, it's very much going to be a battle between Stafford and Brady.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, the one I want to see is Stafford versus Todd Bowles, because the Rams are extremely multiple on offense. They run this play where they bring Cooper Kupp into the backfield and he gets a seam route pass for a touchdown. They have so many different formations and just have so many guys in so many different places. It's really tough to match up against them on a play-to-play basis. So I really want to see how the Rams offense matches up with that defense, with the Tampa Bay defense.
Kupp has been on an absolute tear, by the way.
He's
year.
unbelievable.
Cooper
Unbelievable.
Kupp. My God.
Yeah.
Like reports out of camp was that Robert Woods was going to be Stafford's guy. Kupp's always slept on every year. Like he's just probably not talked about enough.
Yeah, it really isn't.
Tremendous yards after the catch guy, great hands, polished routes. You know what I mean? He's just a good player.
He's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's
down.
like that. So, and this is going to be bad because they're both white receivers, but the Adam Thielen comparison is so apt, right? Like they really are similar. They're both so valuable and so productive. They're both great receivers.
I knew you were going there. I was going to say it feels like Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson had a baby. That's what Cooper Kupp really feels like. He's so that's the type of talent he has.
So they're pretty close there in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a biracial like cross
Biracial byproduct.
Biracial,
Yeah, exactly.
born as a 30-year-old. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's unreal.
So both these teams are going to move the ball. I think, not blowing any minds here, but it's going to be all about red zone efficiency. I think you're going to need to walk away with touchdowns in this game, not kick too many field goals, barring, a large turnover game from one of the two teams, right? I could see it like a 31-28, 35-31, either way. Honestly, Bucs +1, sure. Well, it's just whoever you happen to like more in this game. It's more, I think Tampa, obviously they want to win it. They want to start 3-0 and they want to beat a NFC contender. But let's see what happens in this one. Let's see how they look against a real team on the road like this, right?
Right, which comes back to Sean's comment that got us going here, is this will be the first real test. So it's a great point. And Bo, I'm seeing Bowles versus McVay as the matchup of that I'm looking forward to. I think Bowles got to get in his bag a little bit. I feel like he's got to show us something this week and really get creative and
gotta trust that he will. This is a game you're going out there and you're trying to win. Like this isn't let's keep things back. Like let's hold a few things. Like it's week 3.
Though.
You think?
Well, I don't know. These teams might see, who's going to be shocked if we see a replay of this game in an NFC conference game?
I agree, but that wouldn't be for 4 months.
True.
Right. So
these guys are thinking about that. They're thinking about what's going to be on tape. So
I totally agree. But so much can change between now and then. That's the only. I think if this game was in week 13 or something, then then maybe you're playing possum a little bit. This is just me speculating. Obviously, I have no idea. Yeah. But that's what I would think. Like, all right, we can just go out there and win this one and show what we have, or like at least just do what we have to do to win is what my guess would be. But there's definitely an argument for, hey, we're going to be pretty vanilla. We're counting on seeing the Rams in the NFC Championship game, and we don't want them to have too much of a taste for what we're doing, and we're just going to try to win with a pretty basic game plan. I don't know, Call. What do you think?
I think you're right, Scott. I think at this, you can't always be planning for the future or potential matchup. Like you got to bring the heat here, make a statement early in the NFC, like in a major NFC matchup between two undefeated teams, and I think pridefully as well. I think the Bucs are hungry to win as many games as they can. Like I think they are intentionally giving Brady the chance to throw touchdowns. I think Bruce is that kind of guy. Like he wants Brady to set the touchdown record. Like he wants him to go absolutely berserk. And it's one of the things I love about Bruce. And I think the same goes just for their general strategy. Like if you spend your whole time saving all your all your shells in the clip, then what if you never get to fire him in the end anyway?
Yeah.
So there's such an expansive resources of different plays and schemes and all this stuff that all these offensive coaches have. It's endless, so they can always tinker things and come up with new stuff for later in the season. So I think that was a good point that you brought up.
No, it's fair. I'm not saying that anybody wants to lose this game. I'm just saying I'm not. If you go behind by 3 touchdowns in the third quarter or 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, maybe you just say, okay, let's try to win this playing our most basic, or not our most basic stuff, but our bread and butter stuff. And if there's a surprise play that we want to throw on this team next down the line, let's try to bait that out of them or something like that. Bait some formations or some tendencies out of these guys and learn something more about our opponent.
Oh, for sure. Plus, coaches are the most paranoid, generally conservative group of people in the world. So, Bo, if that's the line of thinking, that wouldn't shock me. I just think it would go the other way. But yeah, I totally see where you're coming from.
Yeah. Nobody, neither fan base should freak out if you lose this game.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. It's you're going to be fine. These are 2 of the best teams in the NFC. And it's September. We're not going to get too worried about a loss in September.
Yeah, the Bucs lost 38-3 to the Saints last year, right?
Look at what
Collin, do you remember that? Do you remember that game? I think
that happened.
Trying to move on here.
Happen or not?
I'm just saying. I know this is a happy place.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really pumped up for that game next week. I'm excited. I guess Brady surprisingly hasn't traveled to the West Coast that much in his career. I don't have the exact numbers, but it is way less games than you would think that he's actually returned to his childhood hometown of in Cali anyways.
He's up
so
north.
That would be cool. Yeah. Wherever. Yeah. I'm excited to just see this new stadium, big production, raucous fans in a wicked stadium. I'm just pumped for every aspect of that football game. I'm sure those sorts of things won't make Ronald Jones any less confident. Those factors, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, 2 of the 5 best teams in the league, let's say, that's going to be awesome. Best game of the week for sure. Yeah, not even close, I would say. Chiefs and Chargers is good, but this is the best one.
Yeah.
Can I put you guys on the spot? Because I'm kind of thinking about it. Who do you think are the 4 best teams in the NFC?
NFC?
Yeah.
Well, sorry. Bucs, obviously.
Yeah, Tampa and LA, and then
I mean, you got to have the Packers there still. We're 2 games into the season. They've played 1 game. Green Bay has. Can we
have can we put Green Bay in pencil based on what we see tonight? Because I still I trust that they'll get there, but it's hard to say after 1 week when they got absolutely dismantled that they are. I mean, I think you'd have to put the Niners there. Just 2 road wins. That's not worth nothing.
Gutsy win, yeah.
Yeah, the Cardinals easily could have lost that Vikings game. Seattle, of course, it was an insane game. I have, Tampa and LA as the top 2, and then, oh God, nobody from that NFC East. I know that.
Yeah. For me, the Packers, they've played 1 game this year. So to me, am I going more off all of last season and the guys they've returned, or this 1 game? For me, they're in for me for sure. Is all I'm trying to say.
Who do you got on 4th then?
I'm just trying to debate. It's got to be another NFC West team. Probably I would probably have to give it to the Cards. They got tons of talent. They've come away 2-0. I mean,
it's true.
Yeah, the Cards. I was gonna say the Cards too.
Oh,
the Niners. The Niners.
There's an argument for Carolina too.
Oh man.
Don't get me
started
on Carolina.
Dude,
Carolina was really good yesterday. Extremely good.
The Cards and the Panthers, seeing Rondale Moore with that 77-yard touchdown, that was like watching my son play. I can say that now because I have one. But my heart was Rondale Moore. Oh yeah, he's good. We said it. We said that he's good. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I know he's wide open, but still. Yeah, man. We'll see how it shakes out. I would love to see the Panthers get in the mix, and I think the Cardinals will hang around because, everyone was saying Arizona's definitively the 4th best team in that division. really, on a neutral field, would anyone really have a hard time picking Arizona over Seattle or San Fran? Like, maybe you like Seattle and San Fran better, but it's not a crazy decision to like Arizona in those games.
Yeah, it's like a coin flip. Like it's the craziest, most unpredictable division. And whenever those teams meet each other, it's insane.
Yeah, it's
the
probably the
Cardinals are the most coin flip team ever, though, too.
Yeah,
right. I was watching that game pretty intently. Holy, they play to play. You're just like, I have no idea what's going to happen. From like, what is the line going to show up? Does it matter? Can Kyler get out of absolutely every rush that ever comes across to him? And then all of their receivers just always seem open because Kyler can just extend every play. And then you also have Cliff Kingsbury, who can just decide that let's throw away a series, a game-winning series for just no reason. It was so crazy. So
that was inexcusable. That was ridiculous. It's like
he
nailed
so
it in.
Conservative. Yeah,
it's
so
like
conservative.
They won.
I guess
to answer,
he coaches so scared. He coaches so scared. It's
late in
crazy.
the game. As the game goes on, he gets more and more conservative, which is like, it's scary, right? Because at the front, it's like they need to be up by 14 for you to be like, they're going to have a good game.
Yeah. What a game, though. What a game.
Yeah,
crazy game.
And then, sorry, I mean, I guess we're just bopping around the league, but like, so that Minnesota loss turns this Seattle game this week into a must-win.
They've got Seattle this week.
They've got Seattle at home, which, you can't go 0-3. You just can't. Even with that, like, it's very hard to get back up above water if you're starting 0-3, right? Like, you have to have a huge schedule break in order to pop back in.
I can't confirm if this is the Pat Riley, but I think it is. I think this is the real Pat Riley. The Rams had a Super Bowl quarterback, talking about Jared Goff, got rid of him, and now they got a guy, Stafford, who has never won a playoff game.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like Pat Riley, big culture guy, big Miami
Pat,
culture
you just
guy.
dump all your rings on the table, like, who cares? Like, that's so irrelevant. Yeah, look who Stafford had as a coach and for the freaking franchise he was playing for. Are you kidding me? Also, they got robbed out of that Dallas game that they should have won on the road. I mean, I'm grasping at straws if I'm referring to one specific time he should have won in a 12-year career in Detroit. But still, factually, he should have had a win. And the fact that Goff went to the Super Bowl is less about him and way more about the team and the coach. Yeah,
and they scored 3 points in that game, right?
Yeah. Oh, what do you think Stafford would have done in that game? Like, get out of here. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, Pat.
In terms of the Panthers being 2-0, I mean, obviously we were all over the Panthers. A couple of us.
You two were. I was not a believer.
Betting.
I was not.
Yeah.
Right. So Scott and I were. You could have bet them, which we suggested specifically on BetUS. They had Panthers to finish second in the NFC South. I believe it was plus 550, at least plus 500, and we suggested that as a bet. So I've been trying so hard not to tweet I told you so because we're 2 weeks in, but I gotta say the Panthers look damn good. Matt Rule Coach of the Year, Scotty. Was another one.
Well, we were talking about the over.
I was on with you.
The over exceeding team that isn't very good. That's what you need to do to win that award, right? And that's what you need to do to win that award, right? If we're talking about, I got a little echo here. I don't know if you guys are hearing that. Sorry. If we're talking about coming in second, that's a big win to beat New Orleans, right?
Yeah, it's weird. I'm just not seeing the mouth moving when you're talking, but I'm not hearing like a big echo. So I don't know if that's what Bo's getting to. Feel free to chime in the comments if you're noticing any sort of audio issues. We'll try and get that sorted out. Anyway, what were we just talking about? Well, let's move on. What were some other games? We were talking about the Panthers, I think. What were some other games? I mean, the Chiefs Ravens. I passed out before that game's over, regrettably. So I actually didn't see the second half, which is obviously when things got wild. I saw the highlights. Bo, you were watching. Did you watch that whole game? I assume.
Yeah. One of the benefits of being out in the West. Oh, it's a lot of echo here.
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties again. If anyone, yeah, they're getting echoes too. So we're gonna try and sort this out. If we can, then we may have to just cut it short for this evening. Thankfully, we've already discussed the Buccaneers. Am I echoing as well? That's what I should ask.
No, you seem
To
fine.
you guys,
actually.
it sounds like I'm okay. Huh.
Yeah.
Test. Test
Yeah,
on a live
no kidding.
podcast.
Oh God.
All right. Well, we're not gonna subject our fans to this, but regardless, Lamar Jackson finally gets some revenge on Patrick Mahomes and gets a super crucial win for the Ravens at home. That's massive for that team. I have not been a believer in the Ravens heading into this season. Tapasio says they're having no problems with what they're listening to. Rich 0665 on YouTube says it's okay. When you guys want to try talking again, chiming in, see how this goes.
Yeah, sure. I watched the Chiefs game. I still have an echo, but anyways, I can try to go over it. I was watching the Chiefs game, and it just seems like Mahomes wasn't that interested in winning that game, like from start to finish. They just had like this, like almost like the Warriors, where they just decide where they're.
Bo, sorry to cut you off.
You know, when the Warriors would just get bored in games in like 2017 and 18, you're just like, man, I don't know what's going on with this team. I know you're uber talented, but yeah.
All right. Well, unfortunately, it sounds like Scott and Bo are echoing pretty bad, and I think you two are hearing it with each other too. So that's an unfortunate technical glitch that I myself am not capable of resolving live on the air, unfortunately. So anyway, I think, it's a shorter episode, but I don't think that's the end of the world. I think we're probably gonna hop off here now. We've talked about the Bucs versus the Falcons and that victory. We've previewed the Rams and the Buccaneers for next week, and I know most of the folks here at Bucs Report, that's what they're most interested in. We're going to be doing a show Friday. We're going to be doing our weekly best bets. We will be sure to talk some other football at that time. So I just want to say thanks to everyone for chiming in the comments, listening along. We always appreciate your support. Please don't hesitate to head over to our YouTube channel where we post all of our video content. Just search Bucs Banter YouTube channel. Those subscriptions and likes go a long way to helping us keep doing what we're doing. And as always, keep consuming all the fantastic content at Bucs Report. And until next week, go Bucs.